Electricast.
When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite. Obey your thirst.
Sparkle throughout the night with Born in Roma fragrances by Valentino Beauty. Each bottle holds the energy of Rome after dark. Donna Born in Roma blends luxurious jasmine with rich, creamy vanilla, creating a sensual and vibrant signature scent. Uomo Born in Roma fuses aromatic sage and smoked vetiver, leaving a lasting impression that lingers well into the early hours. Shop Born in Roma by Valentino Beauty now at Ulta.
Hold on to your butts.
We are changing the course of history as we see it. That is what Wesley demands.
Now this affects Iris. Iris, where are you?
What you feel only matters to you.
I do not entertain hypotheticals. The world as it is vexing enough.
Iris, I have a tip for you.
Don't take drugs!
Or whatever movies with Wesley and Iris.
What up and welcome to Or Whatever Movies. I'm your co-host Iris and I'm here with my older brother
Wesley.
Today we're talking a movie from 2025 Netflix original J. Kelly.
Wait, I thought it was Jay Maguire.
Jay Maguire. Tom Cruise could have played this role.
Especially, and he would have been more effective at catching the purse snatcher on the train. Who snatches a purse on the closed train and then draws the attention of hundreds of people by stopping the train and running off into the Italian countryside?
They answered that. Apparently a person who's off his meds.
Yeah. Still, I feel like that's when Jay Kelly jumped the train. But it was at that point that I was like, what are we doing? Because he had already determined the daughter didn't want to hang out with him. I guess he was still en route to his tribute or whatever. But I was like, I have lost the direction on this movie. You know, because it started out not typical, but at least identifiable. I was like, oh, it's a Jerry Maguire level crisis of conscience film where he was revisited by his past, the one person in his life who is not a hanger-on or a dear friend or a collaborator or an employee, you know, and shows him that he's maybe not the guy that he thought he was. And it forces him to examine who he is as a person to everyone else. The title is ambiguous, but absolutely fitting. Jerry Maguire was about Jerry Maguire. This movie is about the evolution or the emergence of Jay Kelly, for better or worse, at George Clooney's shockingly late stage of life. Like, he looked kind of old in this movie.
Was it the old man run after the purse snatcher that took you out of it?
But even in his 60s, the George Clooney run here was better than his super awkward flip-flops run in The Descendants. You didn't see that because you don't watch movies. He has this thing where he's the anti-Tom Cruise. I read a thing that said that George Clooney replaced Brad Pitt, but I haven't been able to confirm that.
That seems to be the lore and is not that surprising. I mean, there's literally 5 people on the planet that could play this role, Brad Pitt being one of them.
Where we know their face and their body of work, and we've spent decades with them, undoubtedly movie stars who could also have this crisis where their personality is different than their fame persona, right?
And I think that if you're a George Clooney fan, this is probably a very satisfying retrospective and encapsulation of his career as a major movie star. If we want to run with the Jerry Maguire parallel, is this a bromance? And does the ending suggest that maybe Jay Kelly and his manager Ron are on a new course in life?
This is a Noah Bombach film. He paints his movies as heartfelt, but in a David Lynchian kind of way. There's much going on under the surface. A lot of family turmoil and a lot of illness, sadness acting out. The Jay Kelly might have been one of his more restrained movies. I guess you could give part of that to Barbie, but there's a lot going on. Was it happy? I don't think so. everyone disappears. Emily Mortimer disappears. Laura Dern disappears. Adam Sandler, for all intents and purposes, I don't think that they're going to be good after this. Adam Sandler is there to usher him into the final phase of his life. They didn't have the roadside, I'm just a movie star looking at a manager or an agent and asking him to love him. He didn't tell him about this crisis. He just asked him, okay, you're leaving. Come to my tribute as my friend then. And he's there, and they're enjoying their career retrospective because he is Jay Kelly too, and they're holding hands at one point. But he's not going to help him understand or view his life a little bit objectively. I just don't think that he's going to be like, okay, buddy, we had our moment. You know, I had to do it. I had to act out, you know, so you understand where I'm coming from. What's next? Where are we going next? Are you going to go back and do that movie? I think he was done.
It seemed like, yes, he was done with the management part of their relationship, but was the movie suggesting that their relationship might evolve into an actual real friendship, something that Jay Kelly seems to have a lack of and a desire for?
Maybe.
I'm grasping at something that was meaningful about the Jay Kelly kind of segment of life that we're depicting.
You're looking for the Noah Bombach redemption?
Yeah.
Things are typical on the surface, and it's not what they say, it's what they don't say. And we are shown some pretty traumatic things, some horrifying underlying elements that make family is a face. It's a presentation. They're going to stick with you no matter what, but would they no matter what if they see the horrible things that you've done and the horrible way that you treat other people sometimes? It's not that he's David Lynchian in his awfulness. It's just that there's a lot going on that Jay Kelly doesn't say to Adam Sandler's character. And I think that's all understood in the same way that Jay doesn't understand what's happening with the entirety of his staff. He's bumbling and bewildered. So with fame and fortune comes insulation, right? You don't have to interact with who you don't want to. You know, hey, thanks for watching. Oh, wait, holy crap, you're my college roommate, my bro from decades ago. You know, it's very rare that happens, and you've got your bodyguard to push undesirables away. That bodyguard is super creepy, by the way. And you don't know that you're so wrapped up in your performances, you don't realize that your kid is slipping away until she does. You don't realize how far gone your other daughter is in her own world of trauma, having a famous dad when you're that dad.
And so Jay Kelly, in particular, is isolated, and when he attempts in the film to go out of his bubble, to take a chance, which is a little risky, as their backstory is revealed, with the Timothy character, played by Billy Crudup. Basically what the movie is telling us, that when you take a chance like that as a celebrity, you get burned. Is that the message of Jay Kelly?
What chance is that he got burned by taking?
At a real relationship that isn't insular, that isn't with someone who's on the payroll.
Maybe. Because, when you're a celebrity, your life is fraught with danger. You can lose all your fame and your money in an instant. People can attack you, necessitating bodyguards. People have resentments about your unbounded level of fame and fortune. And that's got to be hard. The point I was trying to make earlier is that the Brad Pitts, the Tom Cruises, the George Clooneys of the world, they're supposed to be the coolest guys. They've got the looks, they've got the money, the fame, they've got everything they want. And sometimes they're kind of clueless doofuses in real life. It's an ultra specialty where they're in solitary confinement in the jail. They're in a private enclosure in the zoo because they're expensive and you don't want the other animals to mess with them. Jay has an empire and it's built around him, and he doesn't have control over any of those things. He's pathetically lonely. And you wouldn't think that someone like George Clooney or Jay Kelly or Brad Pitt could be pathetically lonely. But going back to the earlier thing, I'm not sure that Brad Pitt has the range to be soulful like this. Like he would go dead face and eat a sandwich or whatever, right? George Clooney has a shocking amount of emotional range in this movie. the opening scene. You understand why Jay Kelly is who he is because he just goes into the scene. It's like, sorry, the dog came in too early. I got to get back in my zone. And he nails it. And you're like, wow. And a slow push. And he's like, all right, guys, lunch. That's great. And he asks for another take because he doesn't want to let it go. Did you get the bookend that he is in command and he's in his element and asking for another chance? For another take in a scene where he's checking out. I don't want to be here anymore. And then he asks for another take, and they're like, no, I think we got it. And then at the end, he asks for another chance for his real life, breaking the fourth wall. Not supposed to be performance because he didn't get it the way he wanted it. He thought he could do it better. Pretty sad stuff.
When he asked for another take after, or maybe it was during the retrospective, I took that to mean that it's all been performative, that he's never really lived his life, that he wanted a chance to actually live as opposed to perform as Jay Kelly, which he did for the majority of his life.
Yeah, that's not different from what I'm saying. In his performance, he didn't want to let that movie go. It was film wrap on Jay Kelly, and he wanted to do it again. He didn't want that moment to be over. In the meantime, his entire life is almost over, and he didn't do it the way he wanted. So yeah, at the end, he wants to do it again as Jay Kelly.
I don't know that there was a Jay Kelly left inside of the Jay Kelly exterior.
Now we're talking Noah Bombach.
And it's a very sad point for what can feel like an opportunity for a character to reclaim their life. It's so strange for you to talk about the range that George Clooney has as an actor, because it was almost like the role of Jay Kelly required him to be limited, stunted. There were certain areas of realness that he just couldn't achieve, like with his kids. You know, he's attempting to reconnect with his daughter from his first marriage, and he bumbles it so spectacularly because he just doesn't actually know how to be a normal dad. And I felt an ick factor, like the entire conversation. It was all just because, it was all motivated because he wanted her to be at his thing. It's like, I don't want to be alone at my thing. I want you to be there. But like everything else in her life, it had nothing to do with her and everything to do with him.
Jay Kelly, I think, was performative. He was an actor who had it all down and was a really good actor, I think, as evidenced from that crazy opening scene. But the person, Jay Kelly the person, and George Clooney's performance was more expressive. You can see his quiet sorrow. You really felt the pain that he felt, even if his motivation was not to connect with his daughter, but get her to come to his stupid tribute. He was just being pummeled. And once he left and all his hangers-on fell away, then he was just on his own in a second-class train with Gigi and his daughter. It wasn't as insular.
And are we supposed to feel for Jay Kelly in that moment?
I think we're supposed to feel the sadness, but I don't know that he's a thoroughly redemptive character. He's a character filled with regret and not redemption. We don't have the hero moment for him. The hero moment is so staged that that's what took me out of the movie. He wasn't trying to be Tom Cruise's performance when he got the purse back. He was just a dude who was limited by age, but still he had at least he wasn't a superhero, but he had a superhero outfit, like a costume. That white linen suit, he tackled purse snatchers. He collapsed to his knees in the forest, and that suit never got a rumple, never got a stain. That was his superhero Jay Kelly outfit.
It's because the stylist popped out from behind a tree and steam cleaned it.
Yeah. I don't know that we were supposed to like Jay Kelly. I think
good, because I didn't.
He was so unrelatable, like kept talking about the helicopter and stuff, and all his problems could be solved by money. So that when he was out on his own running down the road, I was like, he's going to get hit, Stephen King style. Or he shouldn't be out there. He's going to twist his knee. And I thought he was going to roll into his tribute, like absolutely filthy and bandaged.
Don't mind me. I was just out there living life.
It was just kind of the unsettling feeling, I think, of the magic undone. This glimpse behind the curtain, movie stuff, like when the movie star is forced to get personal and gets clocked by his old college roommate and they have to keep applying makeup to cover up the bruise. Jay Kelly is not as lovable under the surface as the entire train car would suggest for his movie star persona. And it took the people who aren't hangers-on, who aren't paid to get him whatever he wants and coffee and hand him a drink at all the right times. The real people, his kids and his manager who was closer to a friend. And then when he was really forced to choose between his personal health and his job, he chose, it's not good for me. I can't do this anymore. I'm not sure that we were ever supposed to feel fuzzy. It was lonely and sad and hard for me a lot of the time. But I think I got it.
Well, my first thought and feeling after watching Jay Kelly was Noah Bombach likes to make movies about divorce. And this is, in a funny way, about the divorce between Jay Kelly and Ron, is it Sukanik?
Sure.
The Ron manager character. And really, Ron is the character with the arc. He's got a family, he's got something worth living for. That this isn't worth it to him anymore. When he considers the sacrifices that he's made, he's not willing to make those anymore for what he knows that he has that's of value in life. Part of the issue I have with the film is that Jay Kelly doesn't have much of an arc as a character. I don't think he's really capable of it anymore. I feel like that ship has sailed for Jay Kelly as a person. And it makes him a little bit unlikable. I just read the Gwyneth biography, the unauthorized biography, and it's thoroughly unflattering. And it kind of made me wonder, who is this writer writing this for? Do people pick up a book called Gwyneth with Gwyneth Paltrow's face on it because they don't like her as a person? And I know she's been polarizing. She's a little bit controversial. She has a little bit of a questionable presence in like the health and wellness space and stuff. But like, I didn't pick up the book because I wanted to learn to not like her. But she seemed so thoroughly disconnected from real life. And maybe not because of her own fault, but just because of the world that she grew up in and the world that she created around herself as she acquired fame and notoriety. Just like, is this Noah Baumbach's cautionary tale about fame and about the vacuousness of celebrity?
I think so. I think that he's a tortured poet and wants to reveal that the facade is just that. Talk about a Nepo baby. George Clooney included. Gwyneth Paltrow was never not famous or rich. I like her too. I'm not going to say that she's not talented. George Clooney lives on the Amalfi Coast. I've never been to Italy, but it seems like he was just like, oh, I totally want to make this movie. It's right down the road from my house. And, I'll take the crew to all these good places. It seems like kind of a softball, but maybe he wanted to touch on everybody. Talked about the writing. It's all about the writing, and that's what made me want to do it. What made you want to do it? Oh, the writing. Maybe he wanted to, in an artificial way, provide a glimpse to the troubles that he's had to deal with. George Clooney has campaigned against paparazzi in particular. I think he used Princess Diana's death as an opportunity to say, see what I've been saying about paparazzi, how intrusive and horrible they are. So maybe he just wanted to show that glimpse, or maybe he felt on a superficial level that he simply had the range.
Or maybe it's just there are a few great roles for leading actors. Oh, that sounds so silly to say when you consider that there are fewer great roles for leading female actors. But maybe it's just simply, this is a role for him to play and he wants to work with great people. I mean, really, isn't this just Noah Baumbach getting some friends together and being like, let's go to Italy?
George Clooney literally said he read the script. He knew Adam Sandler, a friend of his for, 20 years or something, was on board. And he's like, yeah, I want to make this movie. That sounds like a blast. Laura Dern talked about how she realizes how lucky she is when she looks around and all her friends and family are on this set and they're making art together. And that was great for her. Maybe that's what this is. Emily Mortimer, she's just emerged as a co-writer on this movie. I was like, that's awesome. And she's in the movie. Noah Baumbach brought Greta Gerwig along, and she's in the movie. It seemed like a big family buddy kind of thing. And I'm having a hard time. It seems like I'm defending this movie because you're faulting it for maybe this is pretension or the facade masking as a glimpse behind the scene. Maybe like Being Eddie, we get what's proposed to be a glimpse of the real person, and Jay Kelly is supposed to be. But I think someone asked him too, how much of this is autobiographical? And he's like, nothing. It's not George Clooney. It's an emotive performance of a person who is caught unawares when they should have everything, maybe when it's too late. Noah Bombach talked about not being able to crack this screenplay. He had the characters. He didn't know what they were going to do. He had general themes. I'm not sure he ever really cracked that because stuff happens and we find ourselves in the Italian countryside and in on deserted dirt roads and stuff. But I didn't know where it was going. I wasn't like super satisfied with the way that it did go, but I'm not sure that that was the point. But I was constantly reminded and admired, Noah Baumbach's writing, so much so that I wrote down a number of things that didn't have real consequence, but that I wanted to remember. I was pretty happy about. Like, there's no reason that I should remember when Adam Sandler's kid was like, "Do you know about ghosts, Dad?" And he's like, "Yeah, buddy, I know about ghosts."
The Who's Down in Who Newville were making their list, but some didn't know Walmart has the best brands for their gifts.
What about toys? Do they have brands kids have been wanting all year?
Yep, Barbie, Tony's, and Lego. Gifts that will make them all cheer.
Do you mean they have all the brands I adore?
They have Nintendo, Nespresso, Apple, and more.
What about...
So the Who answered questions from friends till they were blue. Each one listened and shouted, from Walmart? Who knew? Shop gifts from top brands for everyone on your list in the Walmart app.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Oh, man. It was so disarmingly conversational. The kid has no idea that his dad is going through, a tough thing at this moment. His life is falling apart. His clients all around him and stuff. It's just great. George Clooney's daughter, Jay's daughter, yells at her friend. He's like, your mom is tracking you through your Amex again. And the daughter calls the mom and says, "I fucking hate you, Mom. You are worse than Russia. I will never forgive you," which is the Gen Alpha-inest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
And this is the humor of Jay Kelly. We're supposed to be charmed by, but also laugh at their utter cluelessness, their disconnectedness from real life. The humor comes from the idea that Jay Kelly is going to go backpacking through Italy to find his daughter, and the next scene we see a dozen people boarding the private jet. And that's supposed to be what makes it funny. But ironically, I think it's what keeps us as an audience at arm's length. Like, there's an intimacy and a shorthand amongst these characters who inhabit this rarefied world, but we as an audience are just kind of kept at arm's length. And the funny thing is, I don't think that's what Noah Baumbach's trying to say. I mean, aren't these the circles that he inhabits, that he travels in? I'm confused. And listen, I had a great experience watching it. I saw it in a theater setting where people really seemed to resonate with it. It's obviously so entertaining for anyone who's in the industry who kind of understands who these archetypes are. I've met them, I've known them, I've worked with them, I know these people, but it didn't help me kind of empathize with them maybe anymore.
Well, you said a couple of times unlikable, but maybe unrelatable is better. I mean, you can relate to this world, but I think that Jay Kelly was so far removed from the people on the train who adored his public persona. We didn't get the real glimpse of the person because he was more reactive to all the real normal things that all the real normal people in his life were saying to him, none of which were, tribute based. But his daughter, who was like, "I don't want to hang out with you, Dad. I want to hang out with my friends." And and was just short of telling him what the friend told her mom on the phone, still said, love you, have a great tribute. You know, it's hard for me that Laura Dern's character pieced out and never came back. He never got closure or resolution. He's like, is she gone, like, for good? And Adam Sandler's character, who was on the verge of leaving anyway, kind of brushed it off or kind of changed the subject. I didn't get ick from it. I do understand the sense of distance you felt. The only ick I got from Jay Kelly was Adam Sandler's character way overusing the puppy thing. You can't call multiple people puppy. It's infantilizing and kind of gross.
Yeah, when he does that with Patrick Wilson, it's like, ugh.
Remember when the trophy guy suffers from infinite COVID?
The trophy guy?
Yeah, who handmade the second trophy to make sure that Jay got one as well.
Oh, right.
And he said he suffers from infinite COVID. It was good, man. There's a lot of stuff there. The dialogue was snappy. It was clever. It was more real than I've seen recently. It didn't feel hand-heavy directory like, I believe, George Clooney's Starless Sky or whatever. What was it called? Midnight Sky was. And the filmmaking techniques, the old style, practical. George Clooney said there's not a single effect shot in this movie. I mean, that might have been exaggerating a bit. But when he's standing in the room and then he opens the door and the train carriage is rattling behind him and he exits that room back onto the train, that was a remarkable effect, a transition. It was great. They used a whole bunch of those techniques where, you know, we think he's in one place and then he turns around and he's like in a classroom or something.
It was cool.
I thought it was an old style movie about an old style movie star in an old style place. I'm sure there have been movies like this where the film star escapes fame in America and retreats to the Italian countryside. And I feel protective of Jay Kelly, but that's ironic because I didn't get a lot out of it. It didn't resonate with me emotionally. I didn't cry any more than Jay Kelly did. He may have been on the verge or whatever, but as you said, it was too late. He was too stunted and incapable of the breakdown that I think would have saved his relationship with everybody. If he had said to his daughter, I find myself in this incredible transition phase and I'm scared to death. You're the only constant in my life and I wanted to be here. And I'm so scared of losing you to these people that I don't know. And I'm floundering here and nobody's coming to the tribute. If he had just said some of the things, but I think that's Noah Bombach's strength, is that these characters don't say all the things they should. They run away and they never come back. Or if you can't run away, then you sit there and you take it in the face and you can read it all on Jay's face at the tribute. He's too far gone, and when all of the artifice falls away, what's left is shockingly sad and lonely and scary. I got all that. It just, as you said, didn't emotionally resonate with me, and I think the way that was intended. And maybe that's because he wasn't, an underlying heroic, redeemable figure. Maybe he was just sad, and just sad is okay for a Noah Bombach movie.
Just sad is okay. Being limited is okay. Maybe the idea or the point is that Jay Kelly is just a flawed dude, and that is supposed to shatter the kind of perfect presenting persona of celebrity. And maybe that's okay too.
That said, this is an unconventional movie in a lot of ways. The interesting narrative devices shifting between sets, it had a dreamy kind of effect throughout. And the way some of these scenes were blocked, were you bracing the whole time for tragedy?
You just felt imminent?
There were times where they would turn their back to the camera and they were unprotected, and I was like, he's about to get murdered.
That's so funny. You thought this was a thriller?
Bradley Crudup is going to knife him in the back.
Yes, there was definitely an underlying menace between their whole exchange, especially when Billy Crudup goes to that incredible emotional place when he does that spontaneous monologue. Yeah. I thought that as a character, he was going to attack Jay Kelly, but he chose to just do it later. Kind of funny, the actory moments are always so strange for me. Like when we're seeing the young version of Jay Kelly and his supposedly kind of breakthrough performances, I'm always looking at those performances and being like, are they good? Are they not? Like, are they supposed to be? Are the filmmakers suggesting to us that they are phenomenal? You know, it's so actory when Billy Crudup does that monologue. Ironically, kind of like his wife does in Mulholland Drive, where you're supposed to be blown away.
For those, when we juxtapose the real reading, the actual reading, with the rehearsal in the mirror or whatever, those are much more affecting. When he's reciting the menu, I was like, that was kind of cool, but it wasn't like a revelatory acting moment for me. Mulholland Drive was great. Tilda Swinton in that other George Clooney movie, I think that was Michael Clayton, she does a similar thing where she's rehearsing her speech and then delivers it, and you're like, wow, that was crazy. That stuff I really admire. I went through this whole movie expecting him to be hit on the side of the road or to be abducted or to be murdered, or, you know, Billy Crudup traveled with his black van entourage to Italy to finally polish him off once and for all.
It's so weird. I
was just like, how is he not dying? And then Kelly said during one of the dream sequences, she's like, this isn't really happening, right? Like, he's dead during the tribute, I think, when he's looking around and all the ghosts are in the theater, like American Werewolf in London, spoiler.
I think that was just you wanting something to actually happen in J. Kelly.
I'm totally going to try that Sharpie eyebrow thing. That's just magic.
You know, I did my hair for a party on Friday, and I was thinking, should I take a Sharpie to those stray grays that kind of seem to just stick out like sore thumbs in this particular do?
There was a lot to like about J. Kelly, but it's this weird, intimate glance that's a little bit ugly. We scratch the surface of a deep well of sadness and regret, but we don't really get into the character's head as much as I think we would like. And the reviews reflect that. This movie is not regarded super strong. People praise its strengths and make sure to point out its weaknesses, as we did here in our discussion. And I think a movie that looks commercial but will live on the fringe, as any good Noah Bombach movie would.
And so that's our discussion on J. Kelly, available on Netflix now and forever. Let us know what you think, 818-835-0473 or whatevermovies@gmail.com. And check out our discussion on Marriage Story.
And Barbie.
And Barbie and many others. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
My name is Percy Jackson. Getting in trouble is like breathing for me.
The hit series returns to Disney Plus and Hulu.
The danger is greater than you can possibly imagine.
What about Grover? Save Grover. Save camp.
Percy Jackson and the Olympians. New season now on Disney Plus and Hulu. Learn more at disneyplus.com/what's-on.
Electric acid. Welcome to the Candle Power Hour. Come with us backstage behind the scenes of show business spanning over 4 decades and bringing you the experiences that can only be told by the people who were there.
Our guests are from the A-list, the F-list, and everyone in between. Get set for some of the most insane, hilarious, and inspiring stories you will ever hear.
I'm Mercury.
And I'm Diego.
Your host for the Candle Power Hour.
Electric acid.